The statement by Liberia's Electoral Commission explained the downpour within southeastern counties affected transportation of election materials. Sino and River Seas are counties badly affected by the rain. Efforts by staff of the commission to cross the river to deliver election materials proved futile, negatively affecting conduct of polls in at least 11 precincts. A truck dispatched to deliver materials in the Battle area was stuck in mud. An alternative arrangement to deploy motorbikes for the mission proved futile. In the Riverside County, some polling stations received materials after 11 a.m., resulting in late start of polls. Most polling stations were overcrowded.
I'm here to vote because I came early this morning to cash out my vote. Yeah. But then since then, the line is too much, so I just decided to wait a little bit until it can reduce.
Did you also come here 6 a.m.?
Yes.
And you're still waiting?
I'm still waiting.
You don't know when exactly you vote. Can you wait for that long?
I will wait for the time.
Okay. Though official statistics on the election are yet to be reviewed, observation from many polling stations proved high voter turnout. By the close of day, data from Situation Room of Economic Community of West African States revealed the election was largely peaceful. Ebenezer Esiedu explains.
Well, from the report that you received on ground, it appears there have not been any security incidents of concern. Obviously, when voting process or voting is going on, you hardly will get, unless of course people try to hijack, tamper with the ballot boxes and all that. Otherwise, usually it is cool. Oftentimes, where we start having security challenges are when tallying and collation are done. The only incident that we have actually received from observers on ground was in regard of a polling station or a polling precinct where the seals of the ballot boxes that were actually brought in were broken. So because of that, both voters and party agents refused and rejected. As we had information from ground, from observers, as at 3:50, they had been assured that the EC were sending new sealed ballot boxes.
Leader of the ECOWAS mission, Professor Atahiru Jega, together with some leaders of the community, observed the process from the casting of first ballot through to its counting.
We have just observed the counting of ballots in the polling unit where we observed the opening. And it has been done very, very transparently. And insofar as this polling unit is concerned, we are pleased with what we have seen. Our hope is that what we have seen here is what has happened all over the country. And if that turns out to be the case, then no doubt Liberians will have something to be very proud of.
For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Monrovia.
Thank you for staying. We go back to our conversation on Liberia, our neighboring country, and Nanaya Ojima is standing by to get interactive with us. Nanaya, I know you're still in Monrovia. Where exactly do you find yourself? And we know that as of now, 19 candidates have contested against attempting to unseat President George Weah. What's the latest you can report from Monrovia?
I'm speaking to you presently from Mamba Street in Monrovia. And as of now, what is happening in Monrovia is when you tune into the various media platforms here, is that results from yesterday's election keep trickling in. Now it's very, very difficult to put them together and interpret the data that we are picking as of now. We're expecting that by 4 p.m., the National Electoral Commission here in Liberia will give us the first update of the results that they have, so that at that time we can have something concrete to deliver to the people of Ghana or the people listening to us.
But so far, from what information you've gathered, of course, you cannot put the cart before the horse and say categorically that this is how things are going. But from the whispers in the system and what information is available, what can we expect? What are we looking forward to?
From the data that we've been able to gather since yesterday, it looks like the prediction of many is coming to pass. That is, that the election will be between the CDC and the UP. From the figures, obviously, the two have taken a commanding lead, leaving behind the 18 others. And so in the various counties, it looks like these two are the candidates that the electorate were looking at when they went to the polls yesterday. Yesterday, the election went on very smoothly, but unfortunately, there were some areas where it was very difficult for the election materials to reach them on time. We are talking about the Sonai County, and also we have some areas within the Sonai County where the election materials couldn't reach on time. Now, the reason that the National Electoral Commission are given is that due to the heavy rains that that county has been seeing for the past 5 days, the river around that area had to overflow. For that reason, it was difficult for the Electoral Commission to get past that river and transport the materials. Now, it took hours. So it was later yesterday, around 4 p.m., that the materials were delivered to this area. And for that matter, they had to start the election very late. And the Electoral Commission, in a press release, said that they will give that area ample time to go through the system and ensure that they are also not left behind when it comes to the democratic exercise in Liberia. There's another situation where, because of the rains, some areas had become very hard to reach. There were muddy terrains. So what the Electoral Commission had to do was that the vehicle transporting the materials got stuck at a point. And for that reason, they had to contract some motorbikes to help them transport the materials to these areas. Unfortunately, the motorbikes couldn't do the job, and it resulted in some of the materials also getting wet. So the Electoral Commission had to find another way of getting them the materials, especially after these rains had stopped. So these areas were also badly affected by the rains. Later materials were delivered. So they also had to vote late into the night. So aside these two cases, generally the election was very calm. It was very peaceful. We recorded a few incidents of shortage of voting materials, which the National Electoral Commission ensured that these materials were replaced for the voting to continue. I've been able to get some reports from the ECOWAS mission, that's the observer team who were out there, and from the reports that I have cited, it looks like things were very calm in almost all of the counties. The common issue that were reported is that there were overcrowding in some of the polling stations due to the high enthusiasm among the people and the slow nature of the election itself.
Now, in these areas, especially those areas that were flooded that you mentioned were affected, you say the people voted deep into the night. So does that mean that everyone who wanted to vote was actually able to vote, or was there a continuation of voting? In other words, did everything cease on Tuesday?
And from the statement and the reports that I received on the ground as at 8 p.m.,
right,
the people were allowed to vote yesterday. That was part of the plans that the National Electoral Commission had made for these people. Yesterday, I got in touch with some people within the National Electoral Commission asking about these issues, and they told me that they were making plans or arrangements for the election to continue. They wanted to wrap everything up on Tuesday so that the counting could begin, and if the mechanism put in place should be very effective, it's very likely that if these people are to vote on time, the commission will have ample time to put the data together and get the results out on time. Now, per the commission's calendar, it is very likely that the result itself, the certified result itself, should, for the presidential, should be out by the 25th of this month.
Right before you go, so we know that the CDC and the UP, they have their strongholds in different parts of the country. So beyond Monrovia, what information has trickled down to you in terms of voting patterns, in terms of what has happened there, in terms of voting, people going out to vote, voter numbers, what people have been saying? Have you gathered any information on that?
Okay, so from the report that I have received so far, when it comes to the voter turnout, the EC is expecting at least 2.4 million people. That's the number on the voter register to come out and vote. And according to the reports I've received from the ECOWAS and what I've cited from other observation missions, there was high turnout in these areas. Almost all of the counties within Liberia, people came out and ensured that they cast their ballots in favor of their candidates. Now, due to the slowness of the counting of ballots here in Liberia, it will be very difficult for us to get the figures of how things are panning out in the various counties on time. For instance, yesterday I decided to and observe the counting of ballots in one of these counties, and it's just for the presidential. It traveled through to somewhere 1 a.m. This is unusual when it comes to counting of ballots in Ghana. Just for the presidential in one polling station, when they are sorting these ballots out, it's a whole lot of time. It takes a whole lot of time. All the representatives of all of these aspirants have to accept that indeed these ballots were cast for this, and they take one ballot out and show almost everybody in the room before an agreement is made that this ballot was cast in favor of that candidate or the other. So their sorting process is somehow cumbersome, and it has resulted in the slow counting of ballots in the election.
Ojima, we'll leave you to focus on happenings there, and as and when we can gather the scoop, we shall come to you. Nanayo Ojima is our man on the beat. He's in Monrovia, in Liberia, as they go to the polls to determine whether George Manewea will retain the presidency or we shall have a new president. Well, stick and stay with us. Up next, we have more discussions coming your way. On December the 19th, 2011, United Nations General Assembly adopted Resolution 66-170 to declare October 11 as the International Day of the Girl Child, to recognize girls' rights and the unique challenges girls face around the world. We have a conversation on that coming up shortly on the AM Show.